Just exploring the Earth has never been good enough for the curiosity of humankind. People have never been satisfied with they have always wanted more. To learn, to fight, and to win. This is what drives humanity to explore. When it comes to space exploration, the first step was to explore other planets, and this is what Russia intended to do. This was the beginning. The Verona program was sponsored by the Soviet military and space programs in Russia. Their goals were to expand and reach space exploration at the time by visiting Venus, to send a spacecraft to Venus and become the first people to ever get pictures from another planet's surface. Was almost unthinkable with the technology available in 1960s, but Russia had a plan. The Russian Venera missions explored a new frontier in the exploration of the planets in our solar system when they succeeded in landing on the surface of Venus and then transmitted sounds and pictures from extremely inhospitable planet's surface. There were 16 missions that were part of the Verona program, and 13 of them would end up being successful. These missions either orbited Venus or probed the atmosphere. They found out what gases an atmosphere was made out of. And they eventually also were able to reach the surface of the planet. These missions spanned across 2 decades, starting in 1965, ending in the 1980s. For Venera, I provided evidence that plasma was present in space. This also was a new frontier in space because it made scientists review the understanding of outer space. In addition, it reached another frontier because of this was the first probe to explore a planet. The Venera 2 probe was meant to transmit data back but malfunctioned and never reported back after passing Venus. The Venera 3 probe was meant to explore Venus's atmosphere and had a small probe that it would send into the planet's atmosphere. This little probe was meant to send data back about pressure, composition, and temperature, but failed to do so because it was crashed by the atmospheric pressure and force on Venus. In a similar fashion, Verona 4, Verona 5, and Verona 6 all ended up being crushed by the atmospheric pressure and heat. Trying to overcome this problem, the Soviet Union launched the Verona 7 probe, whose objective was to transmit data from the surface of Venus. Verona 7's landing capsule was designed to withstand pressure up to 180 atmospheres and temperature as high as 540 degrees Celsius. Venera 7 was the first spacecraft to transmit data from the surface of the extraterrestrial planet. Even though its success was uncertain at first, following the success of Verona 7 mission, which found the atmospheric pressure at Venus's surface to be half of what the capsule had been designed to withstand. The Verona 8 lander transmitted data for more than 50 minutes after landing on the planet's surface. It recorded a sharp change in light between 30 and 35 kilometers altitude. The temperature at the landing site was around 470 degrees Celsius and the pressure around it was 90 atmospheres. Venera 9 was the first of the new generation of Soviet space probes designed to explore Venus and designed on a more basis of the M71 and M73 Mars platforms, launched by the more powerful Proton K launch boosters, and new spacecraft were nearly 5 times heavier than their predecessors. Venera 9 and its twin Venera 10 both successfully landed on the surface of the planet, and they took the first black and white pictures of the surface of the planet, which were limited by its lens caps failing to come off completely. Verona 11 started in September 1978, and its counterpart Verona 12 launched 5 days later, but sadly both failed to do what they were supposed to, but what they found on the way there was stunning, because they proved that solar winds are real and also found that gamma ray bursts occur in outer space. Like previous Soviet Venus missions, Venera 13 and 14 were twin pairs of flyby spacecrafts. The flyby crafts was designed to relay transmission from the landers in addition to study Venus in interplanetary space. Venera 13's descent craft probed the atmosphere and then transmitted data from the surface for 127 minutes, succeeding in 2 experiments that had failed on the previous 2 missions. The lander took 360 degrees panoramic pictures the first color pictures transmitted from the planet. Venera 14 arrived at Venus 4 days after its twin. Through the color of panoramic pictures it transmitted showed the lander had set down on a 500-meter, 16-foot hill with small foothills. In the distance, the atmospheric pressure is recorded was 93.5 times that on Earth, compared to 89.5 reported by Venera 13. The Venera missions showed that the Soviet Union forged important new frontiers in space exploration by showing that far from being the peaceful and serene planet that people thought it was, Venus was truly Earth's twister sister, because it was a barren and hot hellscape underneath its pale clouds.